Welcome to Mindshock True Crime. This is your host, Bruce McGuire. And today we are taking a look at the Karen Reed case and the high-profile murder trial regarding the death of Boston police officer John O'Keefe in Massachusetts. This one is quite the doozy. It was requested by Mindshock listener. I'm actually going to be going through this blind. I don't know much about the case, so this will be a blind logical analysis. I usually don't cover incredibly recent cases because a lot of times the information is still incoming and it just changes the nature of the case so quickly. But I mean, this one's not brand new, and there's a lot of layers here. There's the previous trial, then there's the trial that just started on April Fool's Day, April 1st, 2025. So a lot of possible corruption here. So a lot of triggered coincidence theorists and authority-worshipping cultist bootlickers circling this case as well. Will it turn out to be another Stephen Avery type case? Or will it not? We will examine all of this in typical Mindshock fashion with logic and reason at the forefront. You want to help support the podcast? Help keep up awareness in true crime cases, missing persons cases, cold cases, and wrongful convictions. You can donate to our PayPal. Just check the link in the description. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell for notifications. Like and share Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, and Patreon. Patrons do get priority for case topic, logical analysis, co-podcast requests. You could also be a guest in the podcast depending on your tier. And if you're not getting your updates through YouTube, you can also become a free patron and get updates through there. Questions, comments, theories, thoughts, suggestions, rebuttals, debunkings of any kind, leave them in the comments section. Or if you are with us here live, drop in the live chat. I will try to get to each and every one of them. Welcome, Clark Rice here. Chin Chin. Mo Hippie Show Me. Bruce, this is one hell of a case. The corruption out of the Commonwealth, Norfolk County. The FBI 100% knows Karen Reed is factually innocent. Can't wait to hear your thoughts. Lord Zed here. Welcome. Shifty Eyes Shady. Jess Palmer. Lord Zed says, I can tell you right away this bird is crazy. Now, whether this Karen is crazy or not obviously has no bearing on innocence or guilt. There's plenty of crazy people who did not kill who they are accused of. There's plenty of crazy people who did. There's plenty, well, I mean, people could make the argument that a non-crazy person would never kill anybody, but, you know, regardless, let's dive right in here. So let me go through the breakdown on the wiki, then I have a couple articles to go through, and then we will get into the nitty-gritty details. And of course, we don't fall for logical fallacies here on Mindshock, unlike every other podcast out there, which is why we get so many requests here to cover all these different cases, because there really isn't objective, logical, neutral examination of not only true crime, but any other topic. And that's why Mindshock exists. So let's just do the quick breakdown here. On the wiki, the killing of John O'Keefe in the early morning hours of January 29th, 2022. Boston Police Department officer John O'Keefe was found dead outside the home of Boston police officer Brian Albert in Canton, Massachusetts. So let's go to the map here. And so we have here Brian Albert's home. He looks like quite the character. I mean, he looks like such a cliche, corrupt cop. Again, this is Mindshock. I'm not claiming anything is true or untrue, and obviously you don't judge a book by its cover. O'Keefe actually does not look like a corrupt police officer, though. He actually looks like a semi-normal individual. So, O'Keefe had been dropped off at a party the night before by his girlfriend Karen Reed, who was subsequently arrested and charged with second-degree murder, manslaughter, motor vehicle homicide, and leaving the scene of a deadly crash. Prosecutors allege that Reed hit Officer O'Keefe with her SUV and left the scene. Reed's criminal trial resulted in a mistrial July 1st, 2024, due to a hung jury. A second trial began April 1st, 2025. The case has attracted national attention and significant controversy because of the involvement of multiple witnesses affiliated with the Boston Police Department. Boston. Reed's defense team alleges that O'Keefe was beaten to death inside Albert's home by another guest or guests at the party, and that witnesses have used their resources as police officers to taint the investigation and frame Reed. Reed has been accused by prosecutors of engaging with blogger Aidan Kearney in a campaign of witness intimidation and harassment. Kearney currently faces a 20-count indictment. Yeah, I have to say, the amount of wrinkles in this case is quite curious. It doesn't appear to be your normal run-of-the-mill case, corruption or not. So here we are. So post-20, or I don't know how to even phrase this. Currently, now in the 2020s, in the decade of the 2020s, would anybody, even the most devout authority-worshipping cultist bootlickers who think that police are incapable of corruption or fallibility in any way, in the 2020s, though, again, I'm not claiming anything is true or untrue, but would anybody actually be surprised if cops covered for each other? Would anybody actually be surprised? Wow, Mo Hippie Show Me says, Brian Albert reminds me of Aleister Crowley. Wow. Yeah. Aiden is a journalist known as Turtle Boy. Yeah, I know there's a lot of hoopla about that. I mean, we'll get into that. But just on the surface here, again, I know nothing of this case. I saw some headlines and that's it. I don't know any of the details. I'm going through this blind. So this is a blind logical analysis of the case. So, just right off the bat here, obviously, the coincidence theorists, the authority-worshipping cultist bootlickers, I guess they're going to be getting triggered. But does anybody of sound mind, would they be surprised if it turns out that the old boys club covered for each other? Now, what would be the reason why he was beaten to death? I mean, we'll get into that if that's true. I'm not claiming that's true, but obviously that's not off the table. So for coincidence theorists, that's off the table. South to West in the chat saying pretty big coincidence stack in this case. That's what I've been told, so we will see here. I mean, I do wonder, for the people that have been following this case online, are there as many as authority-worshipping cultist bootlickers, like in, let's say, the Stephen Avery case, who, are there as many of them alleging that the cops could not have been responsible for this? Because, again, I haven't followed the, just the social media of this case in any way. I know almost nothing about the case. This is my first run-through. In terms of social media presence, are there bootlicker defenders just spamming online like in the Stephen Avery case? If you haven't checked that out on Mindshock, make sure you check that out. But let's continue here. Okay. Background: John J. O'Keefe III, nicknamed JJ or Johnny, grew up in Braintree, Massachusetts. Graduated from Braintree High School, Northeastern University. He also earned a master's degree in criminal justice from UMass Lowell and had lived in Canton since 2014, where he was raising his niece and nephew following his sister and brother-in-law's deaths. Now, for other people new to the case, I just did a quick search on this. There supposedly these were disease deaths, so these are not suspicious deaths, because that was my first thought as I was just reading through it. Boston Globe has an article, The Forgotten Victims. So, O'Keefe's sister, Kristen, died from an aggressive form of brain cancer in 2013. Months later, their father, Stephen, died of a heart attack. So I don't see his age here, but, I mean, unless there were some strange circumstances of the heart attack, which I guess there might have been, but we're just on the surface, they do not appear to be suspicious. For reference. Okay. So O'Keefe was a 16-year veteran of the Boston Police Department. O'Keefe's former partner, the deceased there's a lot of dead people around this guy. The deceased Pat Rogers was featured on the reality television show Boston's Finest. Rogers' then-girlfriend, Laura Sullivan, who had a child with him, was also longtime friends with John. She met Karen during a trip to Aruba and testified as a witness for the Commonwealth. John's brother, Paul, also a witness for the Commonwealth, was captain and quarterback of the Stonehill College football team and teammates with Lieutenant Brian Tully, Michael Proctor's supervisor at the Norfolk County DA, Mass State Police Investigative Unit. Okay, wow. What a web there. What a web. So, Pat Rogers is O'Keefe's former partner. So, he committed suicide. Huh. Okay, so he reportedly took his own life. He was on Boston's Finest. Okay, this is getting strange already here. So his partner committed suicide. Huh. I mean, this is getting kind of crazy already. Just the web here of individuals who know each other. So this is O'Keefe's former partner who committed suicide, Pat Rogers here. Reportedly took his own life. This is Boston Magazine by Steve Enyer, November 26, 2013. Okay, so this was quite a while ago. A Boston police officer who made a regular appearance on a show produced by Donnie Wahlberg died last week. And, okay, do people know about Mark Wahlberg's history of crime? So I wonder how much Donnie was born Dorchester neighborhood of Boston. He was the 8th of 9 children. Wow. So Mark Wahlberg is his younger brother. So Donnie Wahlberg was the leader of the 80s, 90s boy band New Kids on the Block. Okay, are we going to get into some Hollywood overlaps here? Is this going to turn out to be some kind of Illuminati conspiracy connections? Okay, so he was, okay. Trying to see here. So, yeah, so Donnie was a criminal as well. He was charged with first-degree arson for setting a fire at the historic Sealback Hotel in Louisville, Kentucky? What? So he was okay, I mean, this is really weird. This is pretty weird. So, this guy starring in a show produced by Donnie Wahlberg, who has a criminal history just like his brother Mark Wahlberg. So Donnie's in Louisville, Kentucky, and he's starting arsons, and he's engaging in arson? Okay. Wow. So he dumped vodka on a hallway carpet and ignited it. He was facing up to 20 years in prison. The charge was later reduced to misdemeanor criminal mischief, eventually dismissed after Wahlberg appeared in a public service announcement video addressing fire, safety, drug abuse, and drunk driving. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't see anything listed here on the wiki regarding any more of his criminal history, but let me check here. Okay, let's see here. So, Mark Wahlberg, 16 years old, assaulted a Vietnamese man. This is what people know about. He was charged with attempted murder, pled guilty to assault, and served 45 days in jail. Okay. So, okay. I mean, look at these upstanding individuals from Boston. I mean, just look at these guys. I mean, how upstanding are these guys? I mean, would they engage in any kind of criminality? What does everybody think? So apparently also 3 of the Wahlberg brothers have served time in prison, and one of the sisters was in prison multiple times. So this is like a crime family, the Wahlberg crime family. Also, one of their older brothers, so Donnie Wahlberg, I don't know if he listed a name here, Donnie Wahlberg actually stated that one of their older brothers attempted to rob a police officer's house. I mean, that's kind of gutsy. Wow. And he spent most of his life in prison. Huh. Huh. So yeah, there was the 95 arson. So actually, he was upset after being kicked out of the hotel bar, and he decided to set a towel on fire in his hotel room. Okay, interesting. So in 2009, he was arrested for disorderly conduct in New York. He got into a fight with hotel staff and was arrested. Huh. Wow. Okay, who wants to get really... I know we're going slightly off topic here, but apparently Mark Wahlberg was friends with Richard Deloriers, who was an investigator of the Boston Marathon bombing. And Deloriers had also been involved in a controversial shooting in '95 where he shot and killed an unarmed man. And apparently the Wahlberg family is very close friends with Richard Delorier. So there's some crazy connections here. These aren't just surface connections. I mean, this is really weird. Huh. Okay, so the Wahlberg family, apparently, his older brother is robbing police officers' houses, and multiple family members have been in prison for a majority of their life. That's pretty curious here. So, furthermore... Yeah, this is pretty weird. So, back to this article here. So, O'Keefe's partner is Pat Rogers in this Wahlberg show. So, Rogers, a Dorchester native who served with the department for more than 8 years, is described as tough as any cop on the street, but outside of the job, relaxed with a good sense of humor. Rogers was partnered with Jen Penton, one of the show's main subjects, on the TNT series, which featured the pair cruising around the city. Boston Herald reported the alleged suicide, but did not name the officer. So, okay, being a law enforcement official, okay. A request to the Boston PD about the circumstances of Rogers' death was not immediately returned. Okay, so are there any theories for people that are following the case? So Pat Rogers had a son with Laura Sullivan. So he had a son with Laura Sullivan, who was longtime friends with John O'Keefe. And she had met Karen as well. So she testified as a witness for the Commonwealth. Okay, is everybody following here? I mean, the web here has already started to spread pretty wide. I mean, we're barely starting here. Laura Sullivan testified in the Karen Reed murder trial about her interactions with John O'Keefe and Karen Reed during a trip to Aruba in December 2021. She described O'Keefe as distant and unhappy during the trip. She recalled that she said, "It is what it is," when she asked if he was happy. Laura also mentioned that Reed falsely accused O'Keefe of kissing her sister, Marietta Sullivan, which caused tension between them. After the trip, Laura testified that Reed apologized for the accusation and offered to pay for part of the sister's hotel stay, but Laura declined the offer. O'Keefe was a close friend of Laura's family, serving as godfather to her son, Ben, who was born after she dated O'Keefe's best friend, Pat Rogers, who later died by suicide. Laura Sullivan's testimony provided insight into the strained relationship between Reed and O'Keefe before his death, January 29, 2022. So here's the thing, though. Strained or not, I mean, does that really have to... I mean, what... I mean, my first question is, does any of this really what does any of this really have to do with anything? But the Pat Rogers connection here, I mean, it's obviously, you know, police officers commit suicide at a relatively high rate. We're not going to get into all the various reasons why, but obviously sometimes people, police officers or not, commit suicide because they are involved in something, or sometimes they are murdered and it is staged as a suicide. Obviously, we don't know any of this. Apparently there were not many, so this is Sullivan here. Apparently there's not much other info here on Pat Rogers, unless people in the chat know more. I mean, most of the reports are saying alleged suicide. So supposedly he died just 2 hours before the show's second season premiere. Yeah, all of these are just saying reportedly took his own life. Okay, so there's really no other information. This is all reportedly, allegedly. Okay. Let me catch up on the comments here. Welcome Heracles here. Mo Hippie Show Me says Brian Albert also worked the Boston Marathon bombing. I actually need to do a podcast deep dive on that one. Lord Zed, you must be kidding me. Lord Zed is saying he had a Donnie Wahlberg action figure. Were you also the one? Wait, were you also the one that had a Jeff Goldblum action figure? Like the only person that had one? Lord Zed says Donnie's my favorite Wahlberg if I had to pick one. Mo Hippie Show Me says Pat supposedly got 3 women pregnant at the same time. He sus unalived himself. Huh. Lord Zed says she's from Mansfield. That's only an hour from Salem, Massachusetts. Wow, that's interesting. Mo Hippie Show Me says Hank Brennan is the special prosecutor of Karen's retrial. He was one of the attorneys that defended Whitey Bulger. Wow. Interesting. Mo Hippie Show Me says it's so deep in corruption, the tall blue wall in the deep blue state. Yeah, Massachusetts is known for, Taxachusetts rather, known for its corruption, as well as, I mean, there's corruption in a lot of states, but... Heracles says, you can't get out of Salem in under 63 minutes most days, never mind get to Mansfield. Chin Chin says, oh yes, when you hear reportedly and allegedly, you know it's going to be good. Okay, so whether he got 3 women pregnant at the same time or not, that doesn't mean there wasn't also something else going on that could have been the reason for the unaliving. Lord Zed says, yes, I had the Jeff Goldblum and Donnie Wahlberg action figure. I think it was the Black Friday episode where we were talking about Goldblum and his masterpiece performance in Death Wish 1. Okay, well, let's continue here. Let's see if we can make heads or tails of this, because it's already crazy and we're just getting started. Okay. So, John's brother Paul, also witness for the Commonwealth, was captain and quarterback of the Stonehill College football team and teammates with Lieutenant Brian Tully, Michael Proctor's supervisor. Okay, is everybody following here? And this is Trooper Michael Proctor. So, I mean, this is quite the web here of the good old boys club. So just as a logical exercise for the bootlickers, for the authority-worshipping cultists, if there was some kind of cover-up, clearly you have means and opportunity from these individuals. All right, let's continue here. Karen A. Reed, born 1980, grew up in Taunton, Massachusetts. Is that where Butch Atwood from the Moore Murray case is from? Would anybody be surprised if there's a Moore Murray overlap here? We got Boston bombing overlaps. We got the Wahlberg crime family overlaps. So she was also in Blacksburg, Virginia. She graduated from Coyle and Cassidy, a private Catholic school in Taunton, and went to Bentley University, where she graduated with a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in finance. She had been a financial analyst at Fidelity Investments since 2007 and was an adjunct professor at Bentley University. Reed lived in Mansfield at the time of O'Keefe's death. O'Keefe and Reed began dating in 2020. Brian Albert, owner of the Canton home outside of which O'Keefe was found dead, is a retired Boston police sergeant last assigned to BPD Fugitive Unit until his retirement in September 4th, 2023. He was also featured on a 2013 reality television show Boston's Finest. His brothers are Chris Albert, who serves on the Canton Select Board and owns a pizzeria in Canton, and Kevin Albert, who serves in the Canton Police Department as a detective. Okay, so Brian Albert was also on Boston's Finest, as was Pat Rogers. Okay. Would anybody be surprised if the Wahlberg crime family was somehow involved in this? I mean, what is going on here with all these overlaps? I mean, this is weird stuff. This is pretty weird stuff. Heracles says, Zed, I don't know if you ever saw The Life Aquatic, but Goldblum was awesome in that. I actually haven't seen that. Goldblum was awesome in The Fly, though, for those that haven't seen it. He was also pretty good in this low-budget movie. What the heck was it called? Was it called Monkey's Paw or something like that? There was some really weird low-budget Goldblum movie. Actually, let me get the name of that. Why are we talking about Goldblum? Why the heck are we talking about Goldblum? I'm gonna have to do a deep dive into this guy. What was that movie? He was in some really weird... He was in Columbo as well. That's interesting. And Starsky and Hutch. And Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 78. Interesting. Alright, so he was actually, that low-budget movie was after The Fly. That's... Oh, it was actually called Twisted Obsession, 1989. Yeah, that was a really weird movie. Why did I... Was there an alternate title here? It's an adaptation of the 76 novel The Dream of the Mad Monkey. Maybe it's called Mad Monkey. Anyway, yeah. I don't know why we're talking about Goldblum, but let's continue here. On the night of January 28th, 2022, O'Keefe and Reed visited two bars in Canton, C.F. McCarthy's and a Waterfall Bar and Grill. At the second bar, they met up with several acquaintances, including fellow Po officer Brian Albert. Shortly after midnight, Albert invited a group of people, including the couple, back to his home on Fairview Road in Canton. The two drove to the home in Reed's SUV. Reed claims to have dropped O'Keefe off in front of the home and left because she wasn't feeling well. A snowstorm hit Canton in the early morning of January 29th. Reed reported that when she woke up the next day, O'Keefe had not returned home. After he did not respond to calls or texts, she contacted an acquaintance from that night, Jennifer McCabe, who agreed to join her, and another woman, Kerry Roberts, in looking for him. The three women returned to Fairview Road in Robert's vehicle, where they saw O'Keefe lying unresponsive in the snow. Reed exited the car and began CPR. McCabe called 911 at approximately 6:04 a.m., and Canton Police, Fire, and EMS responded to the scene. Okay, so who is Carrie Roberts? So she was close to the O'Keefes. Huh. And she also testified. So is Carrie Roberts okay. Carrie Roberts, who is she related to? And Jennifer McCabe as well. So she's got these two women going with... So Reed has these two women going with her. Okay. Okay, O'Keefe was transported to Good Samaritan Hospital in Brockton, where he was pronounced dead. A medical examiner later reported that O'Keefe had abrasions to his right arm, several lacerations to the face, 2 black eyes, and skull fractures, which would have contributed to brain bleeding. Can you get 2 black eyes from being hit by a vehicle? Because how would the vehicle hit you? Like, what angle? You're gonna get 2 black eyes. I mean, because a corner of the vehicle, depending on how you're hit by the vehicle. I mean, you normally wouldn't even get 1 black eye, even if your face hit the vehicle, depending on the... I mean, if it hit the corner, like, if it hit some kind of corner, you might get 1. That's the first thing that jumps out at me about that. Okay, so he had skull fractures, which contribute to brain bleeding. They determined that hypothermia was a contributing factor to O'Keefe's death. So he wasn't killed from the beating? Reed theorizes that O'Keefe was beaten inside the home and his body was then left outside. However, there are 11 witness statements that say O'Keefe never entered the home. And again, obviously we're not going to be trusting the words of humans. We're going to be looking at actual evidence, cell phone data, where did his cell phone travel and when, and all of these things. Because obviously, if there is a conspiracy cover-up, then that testimony from the perpetrators, what does that mean? Now, coincidence theorists and authority, which have been called as bootlickers, they're going to treat that testimony as gospel. But logical individuals are obviously going to be looking at actual evidence. Let me catch up with some of the comments here. John Smith says he was decent in Jurassic Park as well. That might be one of Goldblum's finest roles. Yeah, he was pretty funny in Jurassic Park. Well, and in Independence Day. And I still have no idea why we're talking about Jeff Goldblum. Okay. Lee Zecca said, Wahlberg's produced Boston's Finest, if you're curious. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. That's why I brought up the Wahlberg crime family. Mo Hippie Show Me says, Jen McCabe Googled how long to die in the cold at 2:27 a.m. before John was found. We're going to get to the timeline in a second. I'm just going over the general info from the case here. Okay, so Mo Hippie Show Me says, Carrie went to prom with John in high school. Okay, so in this tangled web, so all these people know each other. So John... Okay, I mean, you can't make this stuff up, people. Okay, hold on a second. Hold on a second. So Carrie... Okay, Carrie... Okay. Carrie was John O'Keefe's high school prom date, and she's randomly going with Karen Reed. to Albert's home to see what happened after he's not answering texts. So, did they just remain best buddies forever? How many people are best buddies with their high school prom date? I don't know. I mean, that's interesting. Heracles says that alone is reasonable doubt. Clark says the tail light plastic was planted. Swirly says, isn't it true if you hit the back of your head hard enough, it can cause black eyes? I don't know if I remember hearing that. I remember hearing something along the lines of it is possible to get black eyes without being directly hit in the eyes. Any injury to the scalp could cause black eyes due to injury to the blood vessels. So, because blood can leak into the eyelid tissue. So, but that's a little different, though. So, does it look like a black eye? Yeah, that's interesting. Because it could look like black eyes from the blood, but not actually be black eyes. Yeah, I don't know. There's also raccoon eyes. Yeah, it would be... A black eye is technically a bruise. Because raccoon eyes can be caused by basal skull fracture. So yeah, raccoon eyes and black eyes are not the same thing. Raccoon eyes... So black eye supposedly is direct trauma with no sparing of the tarsal plate. Raccoon eyes are suggestive of basal skull fractures as opposed to direct trauma. So raccoon eyes and black eyes are not the same thing. Different damage. So they're saying black eyes and not raccoon eyes, in which case it would be direct injury, like getting punched in the face in the eyes, as opposed to a skull fracture. Although theoretically, I suppose it's possible to have both, because if you've been punched in the eyes and then also got a skull fracture, you'd have black eyes and raccoon eyes. All right. So now that we've figured that out, okay. Clark says black eyes could be caused by hemorrhaging in the brain internally. Yeah, apparently that's raccoon eyes, but I don't know if they're differentiating it. John Smith says, I love how you always call the coincidence theorists bootlickers. Well, a coincidence theorist would believe everything is coincidence in order to maintain bootlicking the official narrative, aka whatever the authorities are pushing forward, so they're kind of synonyms. Okay. Lord Zed says Wilmot Reed was an executed witch during the Salem witch trials. This is almost reminding me of the Delphi case, the Oracle of Delphi, Abigail Williams. Also, like, just the connections are crazy. It's Wilmot. Oh, actually, okay. So there's 3 different spellings: Wilmot Red, Wilmot Reed, and R-E-A-D, just like Karen, and then also Wilmot Reed, R-E-E-D. Early 17th century to September 22nd, 1692, one of the victims of the Salem witch trials in 1692. You can't make this stuff up, people. I mean, if it wasn't taking place in Massachusetts, you could kind of say, okay, that's a major coincidence. But the fact that it's, oh man, in the same area, same name. I mean, have Karen Reed's is it known that this was an ancestor of Karen Reed or no? I mean, this is crazy. Mo Hippie Show Me says Brian had a weight set downstairs. John's phone shows him going up and down 3 flights of stairs to the basement. Okay. Play the Game says 2 black eyes are a result of skull fracture concussion. Well, technically they're called raccoon eyes and not black eyes. There's a differentiation. Mo Hippie Show Me says John's autopsy photos look like he was beat, large gash to the back of the head. The cops collected 6 drops of blood in solo cups. Yeah, I mean, I don't look at autopsy photos myself. I don't show them here on this channel, and I don't look at them. That's not something that would be I consider that staring into the abyss a bit too long. So that's not something I'm into. Play the Game says broken nose can also result in 2 black eyes. Yeah, if it's a result of blood, then apparently that's raccoon eyes and not black eyes. Black eyes are bruising from direct trauma, according to all of these medical sites. So, okay. Let's continue here. So, O'Keefe, okay, he was pronounced dead at the hospital. Hypothermia was a contributing factor. So there's 11 witness statements that say O'Keefe never entered the home. Okay, investigation. Massachusetts State Police Trooper Michael D. Proctor of the Norfolk State Police Detective Unit was the lead investigator for this case. He produced a series of written reports to Detective Lieutenant Brian Tully of the Massachusetts State Police. According to police, pieces of a cocktail glass and patches of blood were found alongside O'Keefe's body. They also found pieces of a broken taillight said to match a broken light on Reed's car. Reed was arrested February 1st, 2022. Her phone was taken into custody. She was charged with manslaughter, motor vehicle homicide, and leaving the scene of a collision in the Lower Stoughton District Court February 2nd, 2022. So, 2/2/22. Okay. She was charged on 2/2/22. April 2023, Reed's attorneys presented a theory that implicated Brian Albert, who owned the home outside of which O'Keefe was found dead, and his sister-in-law, Jennifer McCabe, who had been drinking with Reed and O'Keefe on January 28th, and helped Reed find O'Keefe's body the morning of January 29th. Evidence showed that Brian Albert sold his house and got rid of his dog after the incident. And Jennifer McCabe made a Google search, Haas long to die in the cold, so apparently that was misspelled how, at 2:27 a.m. Okay, that's curious. So she was drinking with them. Huh. That's pretty curious. And so, and she, So let's see what she looks like. To see if we can judge a book up by its cover. Man, just the parallels to the Salem witch trials are a little crazy here. I mean, what are the chances? Because Reed is a last name that, I mean, it's not like Smith. Or like Brown or something. I mean, Reed, I mean, it's not that rare either. I don't know if I've ever known someone. I've known people with the last name R-E-E-D, but not R-E-A-D. I don't know if I've ever known an R-E-A-D. But anyway, this is, so this is their drinking buddy that night. So this is Jen McCabe. So she's the drinking buddy that night. And then she also goes to Albert's the next day and finds the body with Reed along with O'Keefe's high school prom date from however many decades prior. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, if somebody made a movie like this, I mean, how would a movie like this get greenlit? It would be deemed too preposterous. I mean, wow, not to mention the name parallels. Play the Game says, I think Brian Albert boxer punched John in the temple, then knocked him out. He fell back, hit his head on the wall or floor. Mo Hippie Show Me says, I've only seen his arm and a pic of his face. I would never want to see any more than those. Play the Game says, Chloe intervened and grabbed John's arm. Mo Hippie Show Me says, so is Chloe the dog? The Alberts rehomed Chloe after she attacked a woman walking her dog. Okay. Play the Game says, violent men make violent dogs. Okay. So let's examine this. So is there a vast conspiracy involving the Illuminati, the Boston bombing, and the Wahlberg crime family? Or was this just a case of some kind of drunken fight, and they punched him and he fell, and he got hurt, and possibly still alive, but they thought he was dead, and they just dumped him in the yard and then decided to blame Karen Reed in their drunken stupors? Is that what happened? Play the Game says Alberts also renovated the basement and then sold the home. Yeah, I mean, it's always kind of suspect selling the home right after, but, I mean, yeah, that's weird. I mean, and obviously the search of how long to die in the cold. I mean, that's, how do you explain that one? I mean, how do you explain that one? I mean, yeah, the coincidence stack is so stratospheric. I mean, is it possible? I mean, what are the other theories here? Was Karen Reed involved in the cover-up with all of these people and then they all turned on her? Like, because if she was involved in his death somehow, and then she decided not to go along with it or something, or she was having second thoughts, so they all turned on her and reworked the narrative? I mean, this is just all kind of weird. I mean, what are the different theories here? I mean, who thinks Karen Reed and Karen Reed alone killed O'Keefe? Like, because how is it explained? How are all these other alleged coincidences explained if Karen Reed and Karen Reed alone was responsible for his death? November 2023, residents of Canton voted to mount an independent investigation into the town's police department. Wow. Wow, it sounds like they should have done that in the Moore Murray case in Haverhill, New Hampshire. So that's kind of telling. So they voted to mount an independent investigation into the town's popo. How often does that happen? In January 2024, this also kind of reminds me of the Idaho students case where the Internal Affairs is investigating a lot of the officers involved in that investigation. And there's a lot of goofs hallucinating that Brian Koberger must have acted alone, and there's no funny business on the part of police either. It's just really weird. Like, bootlickers just... the cognitive function is not there, but I suppose that's why they're bootlickers. Wait, seriously? Play the Game says, I think Alberts had a boxing ring in that basement too? Okay, no way. Wow. Dude Man says they also ripped up the basement floor and got rid of the German Shepherd. Mo Hippie Show Me says Karen didn't hang out with them, only at the bars with John. She never had any of the Alberts or Jen McCabe's numbers. Clark says Internal Affairs has fired the police investigators for malfeasance. Wait, in which case? In this case here? This is wild. I mean, is this the most obvious case of corruption ever? I mean, I don't know. Stephen Avery's pretty obvious. So, January 2024, letters between the General Counsel for the Department of Justice and Norfolk District Attorney Michael W. Morrissey were released confirming a federal investigation was mounted into the Norfolk District Attorney's office. So the DA, so there's a federal investigation into the DA's office as well as an independent investigation into the town's police department. March 2024, the Massachusetts State Police launched an internal investigation into the lead investigator in the case, Trooper Michael Proctor, due to potential violation of department policy. March 19th, 2025, Proctor was terminated and dishonorably discharged by the Massachusetts State Police due to actions taken throughout the course of the investigation into this case. So how do the coincidence theorists and the bootlickers explain all this if they're claiming Karen Reed and Karen Reed alone was responsible? Are they saying that these cops thought she might get away with it, so they planted evidence to make sure she would be nailed with it? I mean, how do the coincidence theorists account for all of this? Court proceedings, February 2nd, 2022. Reed was arraigned in Stoughton District Court on charges of manslaughter, leaving the scene of a serious accident and motor vehicle homicide. She pled not guilty, was released $80,000 bail. June 2022, a Norfolk County grand jury indicted Reed for second-degree murder, motor vehicle manslaughter, and leaving the scene of a collision. The case is being heard in Norfolk County Superior Court with Judge Beverly Cannone presiding. The prosecution is led by Norfolk DA Michael W. Morrissey and Assistant DA Adam Lally. The defense is led by criminal defense attorneys David R. Yannetti, Alan Jackson, and Elizabeth Little. Jackson and Little are partners at a Los Angeles firm. March 12, 2024, Reed's attorneys filed a motion to dismiss due to alleged conflicts of interest and federal crash reconstruction experts determining that O'Keefe's injuries were inconsistent with the damage to Reed's car. The judge denied the motion on March 22nd due to extensive evidence supporting the indictments, such as O'Keefe's DNA being found on the broken taillight of Reed's car. Okay, so was that a plant? Huh. Early April 2024, ahead of the trial date, the prosecutors filed a motion requesting a special restrictions during the trial to keep demonstrations back at least 500 feet from the courthouse to maintain an unbiased jury pool. All right, so, okay. So the first trial, Reed's first trial started April 16, 2024. Prosecutors previously asked the judge to block Reed's lawyer from arguing that others are to blame for O'Keefe's death, also known as the third-party culprit defense. I mean, that's just psychotic. They did the same thing with Stephen Avery. Like, how are you not allowed to present theories that anybody other than the accused is guilty? I mean, that's just insanity. How is that not? I mean, that's just the most blatant, corrupt violation of one's human rights. I mean, that's just insane. The judge instead offered the defense a chance to develop their argument through relevant, competent, admissible evidence, but still barred them from using the third-party culprit defense during opening statements. On April 28th, the prosecutors and the defense presented opening statements. The prosecution argued that Karen Reed intentionally ran over her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, with her SUV after a night of heavy drinking on January 29th, 2022. They presented the pieces of Reed's broken taillight were found at the scene, suggesting her vehicle was involved in the incident, and a hair from O'Keefe was found on Reed's car, indicating contact between her car and O'Keefe. Multiple witnesses reported hearing Reed say, quote, "I hit him," end quote, several times after O'Keefe was discovered. So who are these multiple witnesses? Testimonies highlighted the couple's troubled relationship, including an argument during the couple's trip to Aruba in December 2021, and angry texts and voicemails on the night of the 29th. See, here's the thing, though. Like, how many couples, like, let's say today, so today, out of millions or tens of millions of couples, how many are arguing just today, randomly? I mean, probably more than 50%, right? I mean, what does that prove in anything? You know, you have to have controls for some. I mean, what does that really prove, though? I mean, it's kind of crazy. Like, a troubled relationship. Out of all of the millions, tens of millions, or hundreds of millions of relationships out there, how many are troubled? Clark says the broken taillight was, in quotations, found after a snowstorm by the police chief who was personally canvassing the scene. So it was not. So it wasn't found with him when his body was discovered? Wow. Play the Game says Proctor took a gamble at the Commonwealth's preamble. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, Clark says the plastic was found after. Yeah, that's suspect. obviously, as well as who's finding the plasma. Again, this is like the Stephen Avery case where only those only Manitowoc officers are finding all the evidence in quotations that wasn't found before. Okay. The prosecution noted Reed's behavior on the morning O'Keefe's body was found, and the Commonwealth's experts testified about the injuries sustained by O'Keefe, which were consistent with being struck by a vehicle. The defense argued that Karen Reed was being framed as part of a law enforcement cover-up to protect the real perpetrators, suggesting that O'Keefe was beaten inside the house of another police officer, Brian Albert, and then left outside to die in the snow, and that the close relationships between Trooper Michael Proctor and the Albert family created a conflict of interest and compromised the investigation. Well, that much is clear, regardless of who the guilty party is or isn't. I mean, clearly the conflict of interest compromised the investigation. The defense also showed to the jury the lack of integrity in the investigation, such as the use of solo cups and Stop and Shop grocery bags during evidence collection. What? What? They were using Stop and Shop? Wow, this is crazier than the Avery case. The inappropriate text messages about Reed between Proctor and his coworkers. The defense showed Reed's taillight intact after midnight, January 29th, in contrast to the evidence of a shattered taillight, accusing the investigators of planting evidence, and also pointed to the mirrored Sallyport video of Reed's SUV at the Canton Police Department. The defense argued that the injuries on O'Keefe's body were not consistent with the car collision, which was confirmed by a number of experts, including 2 accident reconstruction experts obtained by the FBI, so not 1 but 2. Commonwealth rested the case June 21st, 2024. After 8 weeks of testimony from 68 witnesses, defense completed its list of witnesses and rested the case on the 24th. Closing arguments delivered June 25th, and jury deliberations started on the same day, July 1st. After 25 hours, the jury was unable to come to a unanimous decision, citing fundamental differences in their beliefs. Judge Cannone declared a mistrial. And I wonder, how many of the jury were affected or paid off by police officers, if this is some kind of grand conspiracy? Reed's attorneys filed a motion to dismiss 2 of the charges, second-degree murder and leaving the scene of an accident, saying that several jurors have reached out after the mistrial and indicated that the jury found Reed not guilty on both of these charges. Martin G. Weinberg, a new attorney for the defense, argued for the dismissal of the charges. August 23rd, Judge Beverly Cannone denied the motion to dismiss the charges. Reed's attorneys have filed an appeal to the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court and also requested the federal court to drop 2 of the charges. Both requests were denied. Okay, so Reed's second trial started April 1st, 2025. Hank Brennan, Whitey Bulger's former defense lawyer, will lead the prosecution. Civil lawsuit, August 23rd, 2024. The O'Keefe family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Reed and 2 bars in Canton, Massachusetts. They accused Reed of hitting and killing O'Keefe and alleged the bars overserved her. What? What? That's pretty wild. Impact, August 2023. Massachusetts Citizen Ballot Initiative was proposed to add recall elections to the Massachusetts Constitution in response to Norfolk County DA Michael W. Morrissey's perceived corruption in the case. The case has caused divisions in Canton as town residents have debated whether O'Keefe was killed by Reed or whether Reed was framed by the police. Social tensions and old family feuds have reportedly been inflamed by the case. July 2023, a rolling rally of 50 cars in support of the cover-up theories drove through Canton, stopping at the homes of key figures relating to the case and protesting with a bullhorn. November 2023, Canton held a special town meeting where residents voted in favor, 903 to 800, of an independent audit of the Canton Police Department due to the ongoing investigation of the case. This is kind of crazy. So 800 people thought there was no need for an independent audit? Like, that's crazy. I mean, so are these friends and family of the corrupt cops? Because why would you, even if you think she did it, why would you not want to confirm that definitively with an independent audit? I mean, that's crazy. How much of a brain-dead bootlicker Does one have to be? I mean, that's insanity. Like, even if you think she's guilty, why would you not want that confirmed? The truth, of course, is not afraid of investigation. Play the Game says, I think Karen showed up just in time to catch these expletives in the midst of their cover-up. Huh. Play the Game says, that's when and why they pinned her. She bungled up their cover-up by showing up looking for John. Okay, that's an interesting theory. Clark says, Sally Port surveillance cam shows no broken taillight. The video clip was manipulated to play backwards so that it looked broken, but the taillight was not broken on video. Mo Hippie Show Me says, I believe after they took John's body out of the bulkhead door through the side gate placed him by the flagpole. Clark says 800 payoffs. That's just insane, though, because, like, why would you not want that confirmed, like, definitively? Like, it's just kind of weird. Like, it's just crazy. Mo Hippie Show Me says the Canton audit was just completed. It's a joke. Play the Game says you can see all the footprints in the snow behind the flagpole and into the back of the yard. Alright, let's continue this here. Okay, so yeah, Proctor was fired. Also, July 10th, 2024, Canton Police placed Detective Kevin Albert on leave based on testimony from the trial. So, there's other cases as well. Lawyer for Brian Walsh, the Coasset man accused of murdering his wife Anna, said he would file a motion suggesting Proctor's bias played a role in his client's case. Sandra Birchmore, 23-year-old woman from Stoughton, was found dead in her Canton apartment February 2021. Her death was initially ruled a suicide, but later federal prosecutors contradicted initial findings by local authorities, alleging foul play was involved. Matthew Farwell, detective with the Stoughton Police Department, allegedly groomed her and had a relationship with her when she was underage and eventually impregnated her in 2020. Farwell then silenced her by strangling her to death and staged her death as a suicide while a snowstorm hit the area. Birchmore's case draws parallel to O'Keefe's death investigation, as federal intervention in both cases led to different conclusions from state prosecutors. Yeah, I mean, this is just crazy, the amount of corruption that's out there. I mean, it's just absolutely insane. And even when there's no intentional corruption, with a lot of gullible goof, coincidence theorists, and authority-worshipping cultists, bootlickers, they just can't grasp that police and prosecutors, they want to solve cases. So even they might think a guy did it, they're not 100% sure, but they're going to plant and engage in corruption just to close the case. So it's not like they know for sure someone else did it, although obviously I'm sure there's cases like that, especially if it's another police officer. But again, just a reminder for if there's any authority-worshipping cultist bootlickers listening here. I mean, obviously this is a logical podcast, so it's not really for that demographic. But the clearance rates are not good. You can see here, put the chart on the screen, the national homicide clearance rate has just plummeted. This is from FBI data. Has plummeted from a 90+% in 1965 to less than 55% in 2020. Just an absolute plummet. So as technology improved, apparently incompetence went way up, or incompetence and or corruption. I mean, just look at this statistic. For all the brain-dead goofs that still bootleg, I mean, with this kind of performance, I mean, how many people are still putting blind faith in the popo? It's kind of crazy. and in prosecutors. So this doesn't include wrongful conviction. So this completely does not include wrongful conviction because the homicide is cleared when someone is convicted, even if they're innocent. So once again, this does not include wrongful conviction. So the actual rate is much worse than this. Okay. Yeah, I mean, wow. Yeah, this is pretty crazy stuff here. This is, I mean, I can kind of see why this was requested to be covered on Mindshock. But on the other hand, I mean, if it's this obvious, I mean, this is quite obvious. So apparently the cell phone records indicate that O'Keefe ascended 3 flights of stairs from 12:21 to 12:24 a.m. So he was inside the house. So what's the cope here? I mean, what's the cope? Is it that somebody took his cell phone into the house? I mean, what's the cope? Let's look at the cell record here. So this is Karen Reed's phone. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's kind of weird. Like, for the people that are saying Karen Reed is guilty. So also the neighbor, who also happens to be a cop, had a Ring camera right at the driveway, but found nothing important on his tapes. And apparently McCabe searched How Long to Die in the Cold twice a few hours apart. And the second time she made a typo. And apparently he also had a dog bite on him. So that's interesting. So they gave up the dog. Huh. So it's in the autopsy report that he has a dog bite. So I don't know. Is Karen Reed's SUV, does it have some kind of dog jaw that would cause a dog bite to appear? And then of course the Alberts got rid of their dog, sold the house, so apparently renovated the basement, sold the house, got rid of the dog right after this. So does anybody know of any incident where getting hit by an SUV would make dog bites appear? I mean, why is there even a trial? I mean, this is kind of weird. It's just kind of weird. So apparently she's being accused. So at one point she was accused of accidentally backing over him during a 3-point turn. Not intentional. And then she was charged with manslaughter because they were saying she was drunk. So how does someone accidentally cause that kind of damage during a 3-point turn? Like, how did he get to the back of the vehicle? So also apparently, so at 4 to 5 a.m. when she's going to the house to look for him, apparently there's video evidence from the home security that she backed into her deceased boyfriend's car. So that's when the taillight damage happened. Okay, so I mean, why is there even a trial here? This is kind of weird, right? And so apparently they had the dog for 7 years, and then O'Keefe has the dog bite on him, and then they get rid of the dog immediately. So I don't know if did they ever even try to match up the dog bite to see if it matched? If it matched Albert's dog. So if they're not even doing the investigation, did anybody do that? Did they try to match up? I mean, I don't know how well they could do that, but Wow, that's insane. Mo Hippie Show Me says they said in the first trial, Karen put her vehicle in reverse at 24 miles per hour and hit John's arm, causing him to do a pirouette, hit his head, and that's what blew out the taillight. But how does that cause a dog bite? I mean, this is totally shades of Stephen Avery's. I mean, the Stephen Avery case, like the state's allegations are just insanity. I mean, that's just weird. I mean, wow. Huh. Mo Hippie Show Me says, I believe they were originally going to blame Lucky, who drove the plow truck that night, and then Karen showed up. Mo Hippie Show Me says, Bruce, I told you this was a mind truck. Yeah, but I mean, it's just kind of crazy. Like, if it's this obvious, why is there even a trial? I mean, it's crazy. I mean, what? Like, why is this? I mean, wow. I mean, it's just really crazy. So you have the searches how long to die in the cold, 2 different searches at 2:20 a.m. So his phone is in the house after Karen already left. He stops moving at 12:33, and then at 2:20 a.m. are the searches for how long to die in the cold. I mean, what? And then you have her taillight intact later that morning. I mean, there's really nothing. I mean, is there anything to even? I mean, is there anything to even go over at this point? I mean, what? What? So the multiple witnesses in the home where John O'Keefe was killed was subpoenaed by federal grand jury, FBI visits. I mean, what is this here? People are uploading documents here. I'm not claiming this. These are documents. So there's theories that he died from being thrown down the stairs at 12:25 a.m. Can they tell? So on the tracking of the phone, in terms of the elevation on the 3 flights of stairs, I wonder if the timing, was he thrown or did he fall down the stairs? And so the defense is the one that discovered the Google searches. So you know what's kind of weird? If they hadn't done that, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's pretty, I mean, there's, I mean, it's not just that. There's all these factors here. So one of the other, interesting. One of the other searches was how long for food to digest. So did he eat something in the house? That's also interesting. That's pretty interesting. Okay. So a poster on True Crime Discussion subreddit said there was apparently a long-standing issue between the homeowner's cop's nephew, who was at the party, and the now deceased cop. It was a fist fight that got out of control due to alcohol and a German Shepherd in the house. So apparently he had issues with Albert's nephew. Clark says, check out the irregularities in the trial itself. She was found not guilty of the highest charge, then not guilty of reduced charge, then deadlocked. So the state retries the case. And yeah, it doesn't really make any sense, especially when all of this is this obvious with all of the evidence out there. I mean, then again, Avery's sitting in prison, so I mean, I don't know. Not just him, but also Brendan Dassey. So Mo Hippie Show Me says, brother Kevin Albert is a Canton cop. Brother Chris Albert is a selectment member overseeing the police department in Canton. Yeah, this is kind of crazy. I mean, but when it's this obvious, though, I mean, what are we even talking about here? When it's this obvious, I mean, there's really nothing to even logically analyze at this point. I mean, what? What? I mean, okay. I mean, it just doesn't really make any sense here. Hmm. I mean, I don't even know where to go from here because it's this obvious. I mean, there's a couple more articles I just wanted to go over to round this out here. I mean, it looks like the only thing people have against Reed are that they were getting into fights, which obviously there's countless of millions of couples who do and have the exact same text messages and voicemails. I mean, if that's the only thing they have against her, I mean, that's crazy. I mean, this is just absolute insanity. So the timeline here in CBS News says that shortly after midnight, Karen Reed, John O'Keefe, group of friends went to the Waterfall Bar and Grill in Canton the night of the 28th, 2022. According to prosecutors, Reed consumed several alcoholic beverages. Reed drove O'Keefe to the home of Boston police officer Brian Albert. That is where police said people from the bar were meeting back up. So at 1 a.m., apparently Reed left O'Keefe some hateful voicemails. 4 to 5, which of course, I mean, again, as millions of couples do. 4 to 5 a.m. At 4:23 a.m., while heavy snow was falling, O'Keefe's niece called Jennifer McCabe, Brian Albert's sister-in-law, and a friend of O'Keefe's. She said Reed was distraught because O'Keefe had not come home and was not answering his cell phone. According to court documents, McCabe said she heard Reed screaming, "John didn't come home, we had a fight." Around 5 a.m., Reed called another woman whose husband was friends with O'Keefe. Prosecutors allege that Reed said while they searched, "What if he's dead? What if a plow hit him? I don't remember anything from last night. We drank so much, I don't remember anything." And again, I mean, how is that damning in any way? I mean, people get drunk. Like, if that's all the evidence, I mean, that's what's constituting beyond a reasonable doubt. I mean, it's kind of crazy. I mean, it's just weird. Like, why is there even a trial? I mean, there's cases where a guilty party killed somebody, and there's more evidence than this, and they still don't try them because it's just not enough. Mo Hippie Show Me said Lucky went by 34 Fairview at 2:45 a.m. Saw nobody on the lawn. No body on the lawn. Went back at 3:45 and there's a Ford Edge sitting where John's body was found. Okay. At 5:07 a.m., Reed, McCabe, and the third woman went to look for O'Keefe. Prosecutors said Reed mentioned to the women that she had a crack in her taillight and wondered if she could have hit O'Keefe. At 5:07 a.m., surveillance camera at O'Keefe's house shows Reed's SUV coming extremely close to O'Keefe's SUV in the driveway. Prosecutors say no taillight pieces were found in the driveway. Reed's defense argues the vehicle did strike the SUV, breaking the taillight and providing an explanation for damage to the SUV. I'm looking at the footage right now. It's kind of hard to tell. I mean, it does go really close. And of course, there's some serious lag on YouTube right now for some reason. I'm trying to put it on the screen, but yeah, the lag is just so bad right now. So the taillight pieces were found after her car was impounded. Huh. Apparently, there's also 42 minutes missing from the surveillance when Reed's SUV first arrived at the police station. Man, this is the Stephen Avery case all over again. I mean, how did the coincidence theorists cope with this? That's all coincidental, like all of it. It's just so weird. I mean, huh. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, I don't really see how this case could have even gone to trial, though. Definitely reminiscent of the Avery case. Yeah, I'm going to put it on the screen if the lag improves here a little bit. This is from Law and Crime Trials YouTube channel. This is the ring footage. Yeah, the lag is just unbelievable right now for some reason. Clark Rice says it's like trying to play the Zapruder film backwards. Play the Game says Proctor broke her taillight or McCabe. Mo Hippie Show Me says 3 of the Alberts own, you guessed it, 3 Ford Edge vehicles. Play the Game says when all the evidence points towards implicating the cops. Lord Zed says there's no way she's a good lady. I mean, that's not really relevant, though, right? Whether she is or isn't, I mean, that's not really relevant. I mean, even if they were fighting, I mean, that's not really relevant either. That doesn't, the evidence is what it is. Alright, so let me try to get this video on the screen. YouTube being super weird tonight. Okay. Maybe it will work. Okay. So let's see what we got here. Okay. So, yeah, it's going pretty close. Is it a hit, though? I don't know. It's actually kind of hard to tell. Mayor. That's so close. Oh, that's real close. Oh, actually, it looks like it was a hit. Unless she just jammed the brake really hard. Because look at the jerk. Look at the vehicle jerk here. So it either was an impact or she hit the brake super quick. Now that looks like a hit. That looks like a hit to me.
And you can take that down. Sergeant, were you able to see that?
So was it... So how bad of a hit was it? And was it exacerbated to try to match? So these cops here, what are they doing with the headlight? Or the taillight, rather. Very curious. But look at the way the vehicle jerks. It looks like there was contact made. And then was it made worse to try to match the frame up? Yeah, that's a bump there. Now, it looks like a bump unless she just jammed the brake so quick. Wow, that's crazy. Mo Hippie Show Me really has a lot of details in this case. The judge in Karen's case, Bev Cannon's brother, is a lawyer. He was Chris Albert's attorney for a hit-and-run case that killed the guy. Chris was drunk, waited 2 days, sobered up, and then turned himself in. Clark is thinking that she jammed the brake real quick. If she's that drunk, though, does she have that kind of reaction time? It looks like it could have been a bump. Could have been a bump. Alright, let's look at the Sally Port video. Yeah, I mean, just the amount of funny business and manipulation here. I mean, this is totally shades of the Stephen Avery case. So let's look at this clip from Criminality TC YouTube channel. Sally Port video spliced. Time jump proves it. So let's look at this. And then apparently they released this video in not the original orientation. And then we're going to look at it flipped to the original orientation. I mean, just the amount of funny business here is crazy. I mean, how are all these corrupt cops not in prison? And the flipping of to the original original orientation is by the Brandy Churchwell 13th Juror channel. So let's look here. So let's look at the time jump here. So 5:44:01 skips to 5:46. I don't know what to make about that. Okay, now let's look at the original orientation of the video. So this is flipped to the original orientation. Clark says, remember the state was caught playing the Sallyport evidence backwards. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy, though. It's kind of crazy how obvious it all is, though. I mean, it's just so weird. It's just so weird. I mean, how is there a trial? I mean, the trial should be for the cops for all this funny business. Mo Hippie Show Me says, Karen hit John's car pulling out of the garage. Defense slowed the video down. You can see John's vehicle move. Alright, we'll look at it one more time here. But again, playing the video backwards in flipped from the regular orientation. I mean, it's just... I mean, that's just so wild. So, yeah, I mean, obviously motive, means, and opportunity is all here for them to do what they want to do with this frame-up. Alright, let's look at... Let's look at this again. Let's see if we could see the car move on impact here, if there was an impact. Really hard to tell. Let's see that. Let's look at the time. Let's look at the wheel here. Yeah, you could see the wheel move a little bit. Let's make it even bigger. Watch the wheel. It does move. Yep. Okay, let's one more time. Watch the wheel. That's the highlighted area on the screen right here. Boom. Well, that settles that. Yeah, okay. So, yeah. There it is. Okay. So, yeah, this is this is crazy. Clark says, in my opinion, one of the most egregious aspects of the case is how brazenly unbelievable the cops' official narrative is. It's so corrupt there, they knew they would get away with it. Okay, that's an interesting explanation. Same thing in Corruptawalk. In the Avery case as well. If they really thought nobody would double check anything and they'd get away with it, I mean, I guess that makes sense. Mo Hippie Show Me says Aiden, aka Turtle Boy, was arrested, spent 60 days in jail. Morrissey wants him and Karen both behind bars. Commonwealth needs to stop from their dirty decades of being caught. Pin it on the girl. Clark says then after the trial, they have enough clout to have the case retried just to reassert their collective lie. But as they're doubling down on all of it, it makes it that much more obvious, doesn't it? I mean, what is the FBI gonna present here? So it'll be curious to see what's going on with this case, because it's just, everything's so obvious. I mean, it's just so obvious. I didn't think it'd be that obvious. So shout out to whoever requested this. I mean, egregious is a good word for that. I mean, it's just so wild. I mean, this really is a mind-shocking one. Really, really mind-shocking, but yeah, that's it for now. I mean, we'll continue covering all of this as it unfolds here. And yeah, I mean, the most mind-shocking aspect of this is how was there even a first trial based on all of this readily available evidence? But I hope everybody found another edition of the Mindshock podcast interesting and informative. If you want to help support the podcast, you can donate to our PayPal. Check the link in the description. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share. Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, Patreon. This is Bruce McGuire signing off. Catch you guys next time.